Thank you. First, I would like to acknowledge the dignitaries in the room. I would like to thank the elder for the prayer, Elder Francis First Charger. And I would like to acknowledge MLA Gary Bigman, Mayor Chris Spearman, Councillor Bridget Mearns, Councilman Mike Bruised-Head, Councilman Billy Wadsworth, University President Mike Mann, and the Dean of Management Bob Ellis. And also the sponsors of the Mentorship Program for Scotiabank, Dennis Opinko and Russell Jensen. Thank you. Trying not to use paper anymore, so I'm still trying to figure this thing out. So when I first I started thinking about what I was going to talk about, and well, first I would like to acknowledge the youth in the room. They're dignitaries as well. So when I first started thinking about what I was going to talk about and how I was going to start, I still have a little bit of researcher in me, and I was going to do this whole, report on mentorship and then throw out numbers and be very scientific about it. And I had to stop myself from doing that, and I really had to dig deep and talk about from the heart and I'm going to be talking about my experiences in a little bit. But I want to start off with a quote before I begin. Words have no power to impress the mind without the exquisite honor of their reality. Has anybody heard this before? It's Edgar Allan Poe. So what does this mean? It can mean many things to many people, and I want you to think about it for a moment. Words have no power to impress the mind without the exquisite honor of their reality. So this means that when we approach our Aboriginal youth with the possibilities of the future, go into the schools and communities, develop policy without actually meeting them, and perhaps youth are handed, or better yet, mailed a pamphlet of possibilities of their future. Perhaps then they don't have the exquisite honor of their reality, because at that point it's not tangible to them. They don't have the experience of seeing it, feeling it, experiencing it for themselves yet. And this is where the importance of mentorship comes in. This mentorship program allows these young people to build a relationship with existing students who are going through this post-secondary education process. Building a relationship with those who I'm not sure if the mentors realize that they're leaders as well. By acting as role models, trusted friends, career advisors, to those being mentored, helping to build the self-confidence and self-esteem while challenging the youth and helping them to see their potential. The exquisite honor of their reality. I'm not sure that they realize they are making a significant contribution to their communities, not just the U of L community, all the while helping to develop future leaders and professionals. I would like us to recognize the mentors in this program, and could the mentors please stand up? Don't be shy. And I'd also like to recognize the youth in the program and commend them for being proactive and participating in this program. Can the youth please stand up? Just come on, don't be shy. Thank you. So if youth see someone who looks like them in leadership positions, then it's easier for them to see themselves in such positions. In the Western perspective, mentorship has its roots all the way back to ancient Greece, where it was used as an education tool as well as teaching young men their social and spiritual and personal values. Mentorship has been around in the Native community for likely just as long, training and preparing our young people for their roles and responsibilities as adults and taking their place in community. So just as these young people will take their place in the community, just as those who had come before us. And I know when someone in the community is selected to be a cultural and spiritual leader, particularly in my community, spiritual leader in today's world, they are likely to start their training at a very young age. I've even witnessed, training starting like when they're toddlers. They go help and pick roots and pick herbs. And it takes many, many years to learn the skills and develop that respect from the community. So I'm going to ask a question and I want you to think about it. So why do we care if we as Aboriginal people are underrepresented in leadership positions in government, in industry, in business, in academia, and I can go on and on. So why do we care so much? And again, I come back to this statement, because if youth see someone who looks like them, who they can identify with in such leadership positions, it's my Soto accent coming out. We have trouble saying leadership. We always say leadership. It's easier for them to see themselves in such positions. And there is power in mentorship if it's done right. We need to empower our youth and teach them to channel emotions and energies into a constructive course of action that will benefit them in the future. Teach them to see who is in front of them and to not ever give up an opportunity. So I'm going to talk a little bit about mentorship, how mentorship has affected my life. And going back to my mother, who I want to dedicate this talk to. We lost her to cancer last fall. My mother was one of those who still needed a pass to get off the reserve just to go to town. And I know a few people in this room have experienced that and know what that's like. And she was able to, even though she got pregnant at 13 and had 6 kids, she was able to go back to school and get a social work degree. And she was one of the first students that was at the Saskatchewan Indian Federated College in their social work program. She was able to do that while she was working and going to school and raising 6 kids. So when people talk about how far I've come in my career or in my education, I definitely didn't have the obstacles that she had to face, and definitely didn't have to work as hard as she did when she was working on her education. Those who know me and know a little bit about my story, in terms of me being the last, I was the last generation that was in residential school. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because there's mentors everywhere. There was even mentors in the residential school. One of the child care providers, his name is Wally Belgard. He was my mentor when I was going to school there. And he used to pull us all into, on Saturday mornings, he would pull us all into the, there would be about 130 students into the chapel. And he would kind of be a cheerleader for us and try and get us excited about education and trying to figure out what we wanted to do with our lives. But he has this big, huge personality, and he loved to say attitude and aptitude will determine your altitude. And I remember this. I remember hearing this when I was 7 years old. Aptitude, how well you do, and your attitude to learning will determine how far you'll go, your altitude. And as going through 8 years hearing that almost every Saturday, I could probably recite his whole speech. But in the beginning, I didn't really understand what that meant. So as I got older and I started thinking about it, and I started going to school and working and having the experiences that I did, And once I had decided that I wanted to be successful in education, because I had tried twice and failed. Tried going to university twice and it didn't work, and I figured I'll try the third time. Third time's a charm, I hear. By the way, I'm going to be somebody's third wife, so hopefully that third time is the charm. So it ended up working out, and definitely started thinking back to what he said and realizing what he meant by that. So talking about my first mentor being my mother, and seeing what kind of example that she set at home, I often talk to, I talk to quite a few people, and when I hear a story about a niece or a son or a daughter or a cousin who's gone to medical school and they're from the reserve, and maybe in this family there's a couple of professional people in there, and I always want to kind of dig deeper than that, and I ask them, well, what do you think was the success factor? What do you think that, why do you think that they're successful? What did they have at home? Did they have supports? Did they have mentors? And this is probably a research project too, where I can finish my PhD eventually. But in terms of studying families and figuring out what that key is, or what the keys are in order for these kids to go forward and be successful in school and be professionals. Going back to my own experience, my great-grandfather's family, they're in the next reserve from Yellow Quill, and they're from Fishing Lake. So my grandmother was from Fishing Lake, and in all my aunties and uncles from that family, a lot of them are quite successful. And then I started thinking back, what had happened in our family where we have people with 4-year degrees from last generation, and then this generation there's master's degrees and lawyers and other professionals within the family. Like, what is it? What is that key? I'm still trying to figure that out. I don't have all the answers, but definitely I believe a start is a mentorship like this one, giving the youth a chance to connect with older youth, and the older youth, the mentors, developing those leadership skills, realizing that somebody looks up to them, and also applying that to their daily lives, and also the youth applying what they've learned from their older mentors to their daily lives as well. The factors of success in terms of trying to finish your course credits in graduate high school, and what comes next, speaking with somebody experienced in filling out college or university applications, what you need to do to get scholarships, the time you need to put down when you actually sit down to get scholarships. I'm always promoting that, because I think we don't apply for as many scholarships as we should, in my opinion. So also in the community, throughout my university career, there was always somebody there that I could go to. And even here at the U of L, mentorship happened between peers. I found a group of women there's a lot of them, there's a few of them sitting in the audience now, who we kind of all just had a support system, and because we were all facing the same thing, had families at home, and trying to get our degrees, and definitely I think that was a success factor in me being able to get a degree from here. And I just want to thank Dana for coming all the way from Calgary to come and see me. It's good to see you. Yeah. So that, and as well as even getting my MBA, which wasn't easy. The MBA isn't an easy program. Does anybody have an MBA in here? So you know what it's like when they put you through the ringer. When they do the group work and they give you a case to solve, then you have to figure it out and present it the next day and make sure you know your stuff. Definitely was not an easy program to get through. And also, again, being the only First Nation in that program. So having people support system, I believe. There was one particular person that worked at the university who she was very instrumental in me getting through the program, and she's still my mentor. She works now in the corporate world, and we still have there's a relationship that's still there, and definitely catching up and just kind of reflecting on what has gone by in the last few years, because a lot has happened to me. A lot has happened in my world in the last few years. When I was a student here, I never would have thought that I would be sitting in the legislature or being a part of cabinet of all things. And I really do believe that it's a collection of all those experiences and all that advice that I had gotten over the years and all that support. And me realizing that support is there. And also thanking Andrea and Rhonda for the support that they gave us back then, as well as the support they're giving the students now. Because sometimes you can go into university and there's an expectation that you have of the support that's here at the U of L, and then you go into a different university and you realize how great it was here and how fortunate we are to get a degree here at the University of Lethbridge. And also having that, coming out as an outsider, being Soto, and then getting accepted into the blood community. And I forgot to acknowledge I was in Blackfoot territory. I'm going to do that now. And definitely thank you for making me feel like I'm at home. So in terms of this mentorship program, I really commend Scotiabank for the investment. Definitely Scotiabank has a lot of initiatives across the country dealing with Aboriginal youth and supports to students, which is phenomenal. They gave me and I'm not doing it because you guys gave me a scholarship, but I got a scholarship a few years ago from Scotiabank that allowed me to finish my MBA and not have to worry about the huge tuition an MBA usually comes with. How much time do I have left? Nobody's keeping track, so I can keep you here till 10? I'm kidding. Politicians love to talk. Well, thank you very much. It's been an honor and a privilege to definitely come to the U of L this week. I've had the best time, a lot of nostalgia, and just walking around campus and trying to figure out if it's going to take me 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and it ends up taking me 20 minutes. So I apologize to those whose classes I came to late. And I definitely, I'm always a proud ambassador of the U of L and the First Nations Governance Program. And, I hopefully look forward to the next visit.